Today we will revise Unit 8 lessons. We will see some or do some exercises. Okay, so Unit 8, Society and Social Problems. First year baccalaureate. The book is Gateway to English 1, First Baccalaureate, all streams. So let's start with the first lesson is communication or functions expressing suggestions. So complete the following mini dialogues. So we have a dialogue. The first dialogue is between Sarah and Munia. So Sarah, this is my first visit to Rabat. What places do you suggest I should visit? So we will make a suggestion using one of the expressions that we have seen in the lesson. So we can, this is just an example. Why don't you visit Burgreg Marina? Okay, so we can use why don't you visit, why don't you plus verb to make suggestion. Sarah, where can I have my meals or where can I eat? You can suggest another place or a place. You could, so we use could to give or make suggestion. You could eat in any restaurant there. The second situation or mini dialogue is between a government representative and the local council representative. So the government representative, what solutions do you suggest for the development of this area? So to make a suggestion, we can also use, or this is an example, I suggest that plus verb. So I suggest that we build new schools and establish an agriculture project. The government representative, I appreciate your suggestions except for the amount of money you want to allot for the improvement of agriculture. However, if you can get other contributors from the private sector, that's okay. So the local council representative, we can use we could, like this one, we could plus verb contact some private companies who seem interested. Okay, so to make suggestions, we can use why don't you, you could, I suggest that, why not, okay, plus ing. Here we have a vocabulary lesson. We have some words related to society and to social problems. So match the words in column A here with their collocates in column B, and there is an example given, domestic violence. Okay, so here we have some words that collocate with other words here to make a collocation. So for example, number 2, juvenile, it collocates with the word delinquency. So juvenile delinquency are, let's say, crimes or misdeeds committed by minors or people under the age of 18. Incurable disease, okay, or diseases, which means sickness that doesn't have a cure, so it's incurable. Shanty towns, which means towns where you can find, I mean, not houses or buildings, you find huts and people live in them. Okay, we're talking here about very poor people or places for very poor people. Homeless children, which means children who do not have a house to live or a family. Sustainable development, which means a development that it keeps growing or advancing for the new or the upcoming generations. To solve, of course, problems. So to solve problems means to find a solution. Reformatory institution, okay, so if someone who isn't 18, is less than 18, someone is a minor, they don't go to prison, they go to these reformatory institutions. Hazardous work, which means a risky work, where there is a risk, a dangerous work, like miners, for example. Poorly paid, okay, there are some people who I mean, their wages or salaries are not very high, so they are poorly paid. We're talking about salary here. Family dysfunction, which means problems in the family. And urgent measures, which means if there is a disaster, for example, urgent measures should be taken to solve or to help people. Okay, so we will use these words. Here are the collocations that we found to finish this or to complete these sentences. Fill in the blanks with suitable collocations for the table above. So number one, let's do it as an example. Urgent measures should be taken to rescue people who were caught in a storm high up in mountains. So urgent measures, which means urgent solutions that maybe officials should take to or should think of or figure out to solve a problem. The young boy was taken to instead of prison. As we said, young boys, they don't go to prison, they go, of course, to reformatory institution. AIDS, you know that AIDS is an illness or a disease and is one of the most incurable diseases. Number four, can lead to crime. Domestic violence, of course, can lead to a crime. Workers went on strike because they were poorly paid. So we're talking here about workers. They go on strike, they stop working because they are poorly paid. Their salaries are not reasonable or high. A large number of poor people are still living in shanty towns, as we said, in huts. 7 has become a big issue in Morocco, which means juvenile delinquency, which is unfortunate. Number 8, family dysfunction is the main cause of divorce. Of course, if there are family problems, divorce is the result. A lot of homeless children sleep in the street in big cities because they don't have a house, and children under 14, which means minor, are sometimes hired to do hazardous work, okay, risky or dangerous work. Okay, if you are still remembering or if you still remember the reported speech, we talked about reporting statements, positive and negative. Here we will talk about reporting questions, okay? And we have two types of questions, WH questions and yes, no questions. WH questions are the questions that start with the question word, like what, where, when, who, how, okay? So there is a W and H in each question. So they have a special way to report questions. Here we have direct and indirect. So where do you live? The policeman asked. So the policeman asked where. So we keep the question word, we keep it, where I live. So he asked me. So where you becomes I because he's talking to me. I lived, present, past, and we remove do because it's the question form. We don't use the question form when you report a question. Okay, so the question form is do you live? The affirmative form is you live. Okay, so we change you with I because the policeman is talking to me, and we conjugate the verb live in the past. Another example, who is that woman? He asked. He asked who? We always keep the WH word or question word. So who that woman was. Who is that woman? If we want to, this is the question form. If we want to make this positive form or affirmative form, we start with that woman is. Okay, for example, that woman is my sister. Okay, question form is that woman. When we report, we use the affirmative form. He asked who that woman was. Here we have is, present, reported speech, we use the past. Present becomes past, was. The second type of Or this is another example. What is your name? Anna asked me. So Anna asked me what, we keep it. My name, she asked me. So what my name was, okay? Is your name, question form. My name is affirmative form. We change is with was because we are reporting. This is reported speech. Present becomes past. Another example. Why do you play video games? Jack wanted to know. Okay, so Jack wanted to know why. I keep it. I remove do because this is a question form. I remove it. So why? So Jack wanted to know why I, because he asked me. So why I played, play present, played past video games. The second type of questions is yes, no questions, which means the questions that the answer is yes or no. For example, are you Moroccan? Yes. Okay, so we don't use what or where or, so that's the difference between WH questions and yes, no questions. So to answer this, we have direct, indirect. Will you come with me? Jim asked. Will you come with me? This is a question. We don't have any WH question word here. So we use, or this is how we answer it. Jim asked whether. I can use whether or if. Okay? Any one of them is correct. But generally we use if in general. So Jack asked whether I would come with him. Whether I would come with him. Okay? So here we have will you. The affirmative is you will. Okay? That's what we use. You will, but we change will with would, and I because he asked me. So will you come with me? Jim asked whether I would come with him. We are talking here about Jim. The second is do you have a problem? My friend asked. Here we don't have what or where or any WH question word. So do you have a problem? My friend asked if. I can use whether or if. I, because he's asking me why I had, or if, I'm sorry, if I had a problem. So do you have a problem? My friend asks me if, okay, I, because he is asking me if I had, here the verb have, it becomes had, the past problem. So do you speak English? Anna asked me. Anna asked me if I spoke English. Okay, so Anna asked me. So we're talking, she's talking to me. If I, so you, it becomes I because she's talking to me. The verb speak in the past is spoke. And of course, we don't use do because this is a question form and we use the affirmative form. Next, does your friend live in Paris? Anna asked Jack. So Anna asked Jack if his friend, so here we use if or whether, but if is, we use it in general. Anna asked Jack if his, she's asking him, she used your friend, but if I'm reporting, Anna asked Jack if his, which means the friend of Jack, his friend lived, the past of live, in Paris. Okay, we will move now to reporting commands or command, advice and requests, and we use this form, reporting verb plus object plus infinitive. We will see some examples. The first example is this: do the homework. This is an order or a command, okay? Do your, or do the homework. The teacher ordered me. So the teacher ordered, this is the reporting verb, me is the object, to do the infinitive. So we use this verb in the infinitive to do the homework. Another example, I advise you to see a doctor. Jack advised me. So Jack advised, reporting, object, me, to see a doctor. For example, if we have here Jack, for example, Jack advised Ahmed, for example. So Jack advised Ahmed, okay, so the object here is Ahmed, it's not always me, so we can use different objects according to the context. So Jack advised, reporting verb, me, object, to see. Here we have to see, we keep it, to see a doctor. Could you give me the book? She asked me. So this is a request, it's not a question. She wants me to do something. So she asked me to give her the book. So she asked, reporting verb, me the object, and to give, that's what she wanted, to give her the book. Me becomes her because we're talking about her, she. Last example is negative. Okay, so negative has another way of doing it. So don't stop your car here. Or he ordered me. So he ordered me not to. It's not to not. Okay, if we have negative here. Okay, so if it's positive, for example, stop your car, he ordered me to stop my car. But if it's negative, don't stop, he ordered me not to stop my car there. Here it becomes there and not to. Pay attention to this. When we have negative, do not, it becomes not to stop my car there. Now we will practice. So this exercise, rewrite the following sentences beginning with the suggested words. So the first sentence, we're having a great time. So this is a statement, this is not a question, okay? It's a statement. And the tense here is present continuous, we're having. So the answer is Tom said that they were having a great time. So were having, are having, present continuous, past continuous. I like having long hair. This is number 2. Bill said, we're talking about Bill, said that he liked, like in the past, like present, liked having long hair. Have you had your lunch yet? This is a question. This is not a WH question. It's a yes/no question because the answer here would be yes or no. The wife asked her husband. We use if with WH questions, with yes/no questions. If he had his lunch yet. If I were you, I wouldn't work so hard. This is negative and we have an advice. Okay, so advice we use, or the form is reporting verb. We have it here. We have the object plus the verb, but here we have a negative. My friend advised me not to work so hard. Okay, not to, it's not to not, it's not to with the negative. Don't forget to bring some dessert. Mrs. Brown reminded her husband, so she reminded him to bring some dessert. Where are you going? My mother asked. This is a WH question, so as we said, we keep the WH word and we change the form from interrogative or question form to positive form or affirmative. My mother asked where. Okay, we keep it I because she asked me, of course. I was going. Okay, are going, present continuous, was going, past continuous. I'm going to France soon. Hisham told me that Hisham, he was, I am, okay, present continuous, was going to France soon. So sentence 8, 9 and 10. I can't go with you because I have too much to do. I told my friend, I'm speaking here, that I couldn't, past, I couldn't go with him or her because here my friend, maybe a female or a male, or we can use them. I can't go with him, her, or I can't go with them because I'm still speaking, I had present, past, I had too much to do. Number 9, I'm going to move out this evening. Mary told her mother, so Mary is speaking, Mary told her mother that she was, I am going, was going, present continuous, past continuous, to move out this, it becomes that evening, so we change this to that. The last Sentence is a question. Where can I find a hotel near here? A tourist asked me. So this is a WH question. We keep where he, a tourist, he or she, he could, can, okay, where he could. Here we have can I. We use the affirmative form. He could find a hotel near here. It becomes there. Okay, so that's the practice for reported speech. Thank you so much. Stay at home and stay safe.